everyone, how are you doing today? Welcome to the sixth session of Stretch Your Dollar, Stretch Your Food. Nicole and myself have been discussing about how you can organize your pantry. We looked at several different food groups that fit in our pantry, such as grains, fruits and vegetables, protein. And today we are going to tackle another big food group, and that is called fats that you want in your pantry. So again, this group is very big, and I can't wait to get started on how I can help you identify what are some of the really good kinds of fats versus the ones that you want to be really be careful about, right? But before I start, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Dhruti Patel, and I'm a family and consumer sciences educator with the University of Maryland Extension. I am just one of the very big team within Lower Shore who discusses diverse topics starting from agriculture to gardening to horticulture to youth development, to nutrition, health, wellness, and even addiction. So we are a team of us working together to trying to build connectivity within our community and serve our Lower Shore community with good scientific information. So I'm so glad that you joined us today. If you were not able to see our previous sessions, please go to our Facebook page. We have a playlist in the video section of the Facebook page with the title called Stretch Your Dollar, Stretch Your Food. So go there, have a look at all the sessions, and give us a feedback. We would love to learn from you. If you have another idea to share, please let us know, and also share it with your friends whom you think this information might be useful to. So all right, enough said that. Let's get into introducing our fats. Okay, so as I said before, fats and oils are a large group of food group, but they're also one of the most misunderstood food group. We all are bombarded with so much information from media to internet to research to radio. I mean, everyone talks about how bad the fats are for you. However, is that the real case? Fats are actually very important for our day-to-day living and our health. They are one of the major nutrients, just like our carbohydrates and protein. And so that means you're going to need them every day as part of your diet. 1 gram of fat, when you consume, you gain about 9 kilocalories. On the other hand, your carbohydrates and proteins are going to give you 4 kilocalories. So they provide you a lot of concentrated amount of calories if you think about it. The other thing I also want to share with you is that fats actually are very, very important for the brain health. They're also very good for the skin health and hair health. And the fat that we have just underneath our skin actually is created for insulation. So when we are going in the cooler weather, that insulated fats help us to stay warmer than usual if we didn't have that fat layer. The other very significant thing to remember also is that there are certain vitamins called A, D, E, and K that won't be absorbed in our body if we didn't have enough fats, and mostly healthy fats. And so what I mean by that is that, let's say if your diet is full of the vitamins that I just talked about, if you're having that, but if you're not having fats, they are not going to be absorbed and utilized the way it should be. And so that's why it's very, very important to make sure you're eating good, healthy fats on everyday basis. So you're also absorbing these vitamins and not which and otherwise cause a deficiency, right? There are also very good, healthy kinds of fats that tend to actually lower the inflammation rate, and they also lower the chances of blood clotting. And we all know that blood clotting can actually cause a heart disease and even stroke. So fats actually, good fats can actually go completely against the bad fats, which actually causes plaques, right? So let's learn a little bit more about this fat family. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't want to inundate you, but if you want, you can take a screenshot of this slide, so it makes more sense for you later on too. You have basic 3 different divisions within this fats and oils family. One of those subfamilies are saturated fats. And so saturated fats are kind of fats that are going to stay solid at room temperature and even at refrigerated temperature. You are not supposed to have more than 10% of those fats from your total calories, and this recommendation is for adults and not for children. We then have trans fats. The trans fats are something, as you can see on the slide, I've put it 0%, mostly because we want to try to eliminate trans fats as much as possible. And through the times and different regulation, we are now becoming more and more transparent in the sense our markets are becoming more transparent and the manufacturers are becoming more transparent to suggest us if they're adding trans fats in it too. So again, they're making our lives a little bit easy, and we just need to do a little bit more homework when we are consuming food, right? Overall, saturated and trans fats both should be limited, and part of the reason why is that they are the ones who are causing a lot of inflammation in the body. They also can make you prone to heart disease because they tend to alleviate our cholesterol level in a not so good way. So of course we have to be very careful of them, and they also can increase the risk of stroke too in the body. So please be careful on that. Start reading the labels. They are your best friends. On the other side, the large section on the right side that you see is unsaturated fats, and they are the superheroes. And I say that because they do exact opposite of what saturated fats and the trans fats do. And so what that means is that they're going to reduce the inflammation within the body. They're going to improve, your chances of not preventing heart disease and stroke. They're also going to improve your blood cholesterol level, meaning they're going to improve your good cholesterol and keep your bad cholesterol in check. So overall, try to have fats and oils in your diet that comes from this specific family. Now, there are many different kinds of unsaturated fats. One being monounsaturated fats, which should be consumed about 15 to 20% of the total amount. And the polyunsaturated fats are between 5 to 10%. And so just be careful on that. Again, both of those are for adults. They are not for children. Within polyunsaturated family, you have two more divisions. One being omega-3 and the other being omega-6. So now we know, I think many of you are nodding your head as like, I have heard this. Yes, omega-3 supplements are very widely available at any of the grocery store in the pharmacy section. You can even get it from your local pharmacy. You can get it on the internet. Even maybe some of your physicians actually must have prescribed this supplement to you depending your health condition. So most times we have heard of these, and for a very good reason. They tend to help all the things that I just talked about with inflammation and heart disease and stroke. So the people who have more foods that is high in omega-3 and 6s tends to have a lower chances of getting heart disease. Overall, from the fats, nuts, and seeds and oils family, you should be consuming about 20 to 35% of calories per day for an average adult. Now, you may say that, is this what I need? I cannot confirm that to you because we all are different. We all have a very unique body. We all lead a very different lifestyle, and we all have a different health condition. So if you are curious about whether this is the right amount for you when it comes to fats, talk to your physician. Talk to the nutritionist and talk to the dietitian. They should be able to formulate a plan for you that's going to give you even more accurate information. These are just a general guidelines that is provided to us by American Heart Association. So again, this still gives you a good reference point. Now let's look at what are the different sources of all the fats that I just talked about. So let's start with saturated fats. Saturated fats tend to come from a lot of milk and dairy products. If you're having more whole milk, cream, ice cream, cheese, butter, they all tend to have a lot of saturated fats in it. And we also have other types of oils such as coconut and palm oil that tends to be higher in saturated fats too. As I said before, usually you will see that this type of fat tends to stay solid at room temperature, and so you see your butter stays solid, and so does coconut oil. It's because of this specific type of fat in it. And the second one we're going to look at, the sources we're going to look at, is trans fats. There is definitely a little bit of difficulty identifying foods that has a lot of trans fats, mostly because they are not as straightforward as the one that I just talked about a second ago. They are invisible and they're used as an ingredient, so most times you won't even realize that that food has trans fats. So what are those foods? They are mostly your foods such as margarine, French fries, cakes, pies, cookies, crackers, donuts. You also have microwave popcorn and frozen pizza that tends to be higher in trans fats. And so now you may ask me, Dhruti, how do I figure out that, if my food has trans fats in it? And so, like I said before, we have something called as nutrition label. So turn around the packet and look at that label. I have indicated that picture right here on the right side. So as you can see, I've highlighted the label around total fats, and as you can see, it gives you not only indication on the total fat, it also breaks it down by saturated fats and trans fats. So if your food item has trans fats, they are mandated to mention that in the nutrition label. So again, read the text, read the messaging, because the best way to know what you're eating is to start looking at your label and ingredient list, because you'll be surprised the amount of additives and nutrition information that we miss out when we just assume what we see in front of the packaging. So make sure you make that a habit. Go slow, go at the grocery store and try to read as many labels as you can. The other source of unsaturated fats that we want to talk about is monounsaturated fat. So where does it come from? It comes from your avocado, olives and olive oil, your canola oil, peanut oil. You also have almond, pecan, and hazelnuts. That tends to be higher in monounsaturated fats. For your polyunsaturated fats, it's a mixture of nuts and sea-based fish. And so let's look at some of the examples of that. So overall, in omega-3, it can be found in saltwater fatty fish, and some of the examples of those are salmon, tuna, mackerel, herring, sardines, anchovies. Those all tend to have a very high amount of omega-3. So try to add some kind of a ocean-based fish in your diet if you can. However, if you do not consume seafood, don't lose heart, because you still can have omega-3 by eating flax seeds and walnuts and chia seeds and hemp seeds and soybean based product. You can also consume vegetable oils too that tends to be higher in polyunsaturated fats. So I hope that you pay attention again to your nutrition label, and it should give you information on that. Now let's look at the omega-6. Omega-6 usually comes from your green leafy vegetables and nuts and vegetable oils. So I hope you're seeing this pattern here on this slide, is that if you're most likely eating healthier foods, in a sense, you're eating more vegetables, you have some nuts and seeds in your diet, if you are fishitarian, most likely you already are on the process of eating more healthier fats. And if you haven't, start making a little bit of practice. Start adding little change at a time. If you're used to having nuts every day, try switching the kind of nuts you are having. Right? Start adding more walnuts and almonds. And so that's going to give you a better profile for the fat. Right? So that's always a great idea. Now what we are going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of items I have in my own pantry, and hopefully this gives you some idea on what maybe you want in your pantry, or you already have it, and what you can do with it. Alright, so this is just a picture, and as you can see I have a variety of nuts and seeds. I also keep sardines and anchovies in my pantry too, but I was running out of it, so that wasn't part of that. But please imagine those little containers of sardine and anchovies placed right somewhere there. So let's start with our nuts group on the left side, left corner. As you can see here, I have a variety of nuts, so if you can, try to add some variety with the nuts that you consume. So I have some almonds, I have walnuts, and I have cashews. Now almonds and walnuts again are part of unsaturated family. We just talked about it. Cashews tends to have a little bit higher saturated fats in it. So just, you can eat that, but just eat that in moderation as much as possible. We then now have nut butters, right? I mean, we all love peanut butter, and that is definitely a good source of monounsaturated fats. Again, part of an unsaturated family, but it also brings in a little bit of saturated fats with it too. Remember this, whenever you're eating any nuts or any kind of naturally high fat food, there might be a chance that it is a combination of different foods. So like I said, peanut is high in monounsaturated fats. However, it also has a little bit of saturated fats in it too. So just be careful on those little nuances. And again, you don't have to start everything at once. Just start paying attention a little bit and one thing at a time. The other thing I also keep in my house is almond butter. I love almond butter. I think almond butter makes everything taste good, in my opinion. It is creamier, it adds so much richness to the food, and calorie wise it's much more comparable. Also, it is very, very high in unsaturated fats, so I love that part a lot. Also in the back side, right in the center, you can see different kinds of flour. You are now seeing them more and more coming up. They are perfect for anyone who has gluten sensitivity. So if you want to replace that with your regular flour, you can. I'll tell you, I make pancakes and crepes and banana bread with it using this flour, and it tastes delicious. Sometimes I mix them up too with my regular flour or whole wheat flour. But adding nut flour actually adds a lot of fiber in your food, as well as the kind of healthy food that we are looking for. And the plus side of all that is that it adds a really beautiful nutty flavor. So I enjoy that. Give that a try. Find recipes that actually helps you find a happy medium, and experiment with this flour if you want. Now we're going to look at the very last group on the right side, right here, and that is our seeds group. It's very close to my heart. I love this section of my pantry, and I use that almost every day. And let's start with the first one. So I have pumpkin seeds here. I love pumpkin seeds mostly because they are so versatile. I can add them in my energy bars, I can add them in my salads. I can add them sometimes in my wraps and add some crunch in it. So it's very versatile basically. On the other side, also pumpkin seeds tends to be high in unsaturated fat. So again, great option even for your trail mixes if you like to snack on things like that. The other thing to think about here are the other two seeds I have. The first one is hemp seeds. It is becoming my new favorite since past few months, mostly because it's a very good source of protein. And so 10 grams of protein coming from one serving of plant-based source, it's a really good option. Our regular beans that we eat, like a chickpeas or a garbanzo bean we call it, is about 6 grams per serving. And hemp seeds has about 10 grams. So that is substantial coming from plant source. It also is abundant in omega-3. Again, as I told you before, that don't hesitate if you're not eating fish. Make sure you're eating other vegetable source protein, fats that actually is high. So hemp seed is one of the very good contender to have your omega-3 regularly. On the last but not the least, my favorite one is chia seeds. I love this seed because it's very versatile. Again, I add them in the smoothie, fruit bowl. I add them in my yogurt bowl. I add them in the pudding that I'm about to show it to you. It is delicious. Again, very high in omega-3 fatty acids. It's also very, very high in fiber. It's almost about 48% fiber for your daily intake. So that is substantial. And not just those two. It is also very high in iron and magnesium. So overall, it's a very good food, and if you can try it, you don't need as much. The jar you get, I mean, it will take some time for you to exhaust that big of a jar, because one serving is about 2 tablespoons, and that's it. And so for you to get 6 grams of protein from just 2 tablespoons and all that omega-3, it is a very, very good option. So now that I told you a little bit about all the things I have in your pantry, don't look at your own pantry now and see how you can classify it for yourself, and how you can diversify it, how you can use what you have already, right? These are just some ideas for you to think about. So we are already in the kitchen, so let me show you 2 of my favorite chia pudding recipe. They are delicious, and I'm not saying it just because I'm making it. They are actually my favorite, and I make them almost every other week. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you make it at home, please share and comment. Let us know if you liked it or not, and if you have made any adaptations in the recipe, let us know that too. We are all here to learn. So all right, let's get started on the recipe demonstration. All right, everyone, so we are going to make chia pudding today. This is one of my favorite snacks to have when I am a little bit starving and I need to have some pick me up energy snack. Or this can also be my breakfast, and there are times I have enjoyed this as a dessert. I'm going to show you 2 different recipes made with the basic recipe of chia pudding. One is going to be Brainiac Blueberry Chia Pudding. Again, that's a little twist I've created for the recipe. And the second one is a tropical chia pudding. And so let's start with the basic recipe you will follow no matter what kind of fruits and spice or whatever kind of combination you want to create. So we are first going to start with chia seeds here. So you're going to add about 3 tablespoons of chia seeds. 1, 2, 3. The power-packed food, high in protein, great fats, mostly unsaturated fats, omega-3 fats, also high in minerals and fiber, so it's a good start. The other thing I'm going to add to it is hemp hearts. Hemp heart is also very good in giving you protein and a good healthy fat. So this is about a tablespoon again. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about 3/4 of a cup of milk. You can choose any kind of milk you like, whether it's a nut-based milk like almond milk, coconut milk. Coconut milk tends to be higher in saturated fats too, so just an FYI. But try to use reduced fat milk if possible. So I'm adding that right here. The one thing you want to remember when you're making this is as soon as you add this, you have to stir it quickly. You don't want chia seeds to settle at the bottom just yet. All right, so that is done. And now you can go ahead and add your blueberries. Now I have blueberries, that frozen blueberries basically, and I've thawed it in the microwave to make it slightly more mushy and softer. It's about 1 cup of blueberry. So I'm gonna add that. It's gonna give it a beautiful, beautiful color too, like purple color. So if you have little ones at home who are a little bit picky, this may actually entice them to try it a little bit. And now we're going to add some sweetener. So you can use stevia, any kind of sweetener that you enjoy. I like to use some maple syrup or agave nectar. So I'm going to use about half a tablespoon of maple syrup. If I'm using a recipe with banana, I try to even use lesser amount of sweetener because banana has so much sweetness in it, right? And then last but not the least, my favorite part, cinnamon. I think blueberry and cinnamon goes very well together. So I have a powdered cinnamon right here. I'm going to add just a little bit. Again, go by your taste, see which one you like better. And then you mix it all up. Look how pretty the color is, right? And then what I do is that I put this overnight in the refrigerator, and the next day I'm ready to eat this. What the pudding usually looks like is, I've done this yesterday. It looks like a pudding. You literally tapioca pudding. It's soft and it's gelled so beautifully because chia seed loves to hold on to water, so it's going to create a beautiful texture like that. And that also has hemp seed. And so this is a basic recipe, and you can add any kind of fruits and that you like to add in that. I try to go for berries and more tropical flavor. So again, you just cover this up, put it in the refrigerator, and then the next day when you're ready to eat, add some walnuts in it. And there you go. You have power-packed chia pudding that is great and healthy fats from chia seeds, from chia seeds, hemp seeds, from walnuts. You're also adding blueberries. So again, this becomes overall a brain food too, because blueberry is very good for brain, and so is omega-3s. So I hope you give this a try and tell me how it goes. Okay, so now we are going to make Tropical Delight chia pudding. So I have already made a chia pudding in it here from last night. Again, you just like blueberry pudding, you can also do the same for this one too, and toss everything in the jar and leave it in the refrigerator, and next day you're just directly eat it. But this is already made, so I want to show you that you can just make a basic recipe and put it in the different containers and leave it in the refrigerator for up to 3 days. And you and your family can just enjoy it by just adding the toppings that individually you prefer. So let's see what we got for the tropical chia pudding. We have about a cup of fresh pineapple. You don't have to use fresh pineapple. You can even use canned pineapple that is canned in water or in 100% juice, because that way it's going to reduce the amount of sugar added, right? To add sweetness, I am going to add about half a cup of banana. I think pineapple and banana goes very well together. And last but not the least, I am going to add some coconut, shredded coconut. This is going to give that tropical vibe, right? And then you mix it all up. Again, leave it for a couple more minutes so everything gets nicely, mixed, and it gives you better flavor. So just leave it in the refrigerator for 10 more minutes, or even 5 would be okay. And then your actual fruit bowl is ready to go. Again, you can have this in the breakfast time as a mid-morning snack, or you can have it as a dessert. I hope you give this a try. Let me know how it goes, and make your own adaptations, and share it with the whole group in the comment section so we can all learn from your experiences, right? All right, you guys, thank you so much for attending this session on fats, and I hope you found that helpful.